I think we're good to start.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're doing well today. Even either if you're here or you're while you're watching our recording, thank you so much for listening and joining us today. I'm Abraham Shumshia, a mental health counselor and the leader of the In This Together campaign, and I am also in our the organization of Abrar Trauma and Mental Health Service. And I'm joining you today with Aya Said, who is my uh, teammate, and I'll give it to her to do further introduction.
Like Abrar said, I'm Aya Said, and I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and I work with Abrar as part of the research team. I'm going to give it back to Abrar now.
Thank you. So with no further ado, today we're here, me and Aya, to share with you some information and tips about caring for others, especially at this time with everything going back to the in-person school, the in-person world and work after almost 2 years of, let's say, isolation, or let's say the online schooling and working. So this shift back, it could be stressful and critical time for many of us and many of the youth. So I will start with this saying: it helps to be able to talk to someone who understands what you are going through and who will not judge you. So, and there where we're gonna talk about us supporting others, especially what we call it the peer support, because peer support, especially peer support, because we all went through the same experience. When we talk about COVID or any other experience, we're gonna use COVID as examples, but also you can amplify it for like any other experience, mental health challenges or trauma or any other challenge that you feel that you and other friends went through it. And as many of us would agree, we always feel comfortable and relieved when we talk to a friend who really understand and listen to us. That's why peer support is really important. And they're always there. So the definition of peer support is emotional and practical support between two people who share a common experience, such as mental health challenge or illness, or as I mentioned before, also the COVID-19 situation or any trauma. A peer support has lived through that similar experience and is trained to support others. But today we will focus on the peer support who did not get trained. So there is two types of peer support, or let's say supporting others. The friendship type, which is informal and voluntarily, and the clinical one, which you can see it's formal. It's people are trained to do peer support, and you can see it in a clinic, in organization, community setting, that type of the other type. But today our focus on the friendship, that like supporting friends and family. I think that's yeah. And like why we want to support friends and family, we want to support them through the experience with the hope that our support will support their journey of recovery and well-being, as well as our journey of recovery and well-being. And we want to expand and talk more about that later on with this session with Aya, so how to support ourselves. But today we'll start with supporting others in their recovery journey. What does recovery generally mean? It's a process of change through which individuals improve their health and wellness, live a self-directed life, and strive to reach their full potential. And that the main point is making sure that the individual is trying to reach their full potential and growing more and their skills and their experiences and etc. Can we flip to that? Yeah, we'll go to the next slide. So the value and importance of peer support according to, okay, before that, yeah, what does peer support mean to you, or caring for others? Well, we asked that question to some youth, and we had some answers were being there for me, feeling comfortable when I'm talking to that person, feeling well understood or enough understood. That were some of the answers, and feel free to have your own answer when you're watching. Next slide. So the value and the importance of, can we go to the next slide, please? So the value and the importance of peer support. According to Mental Health Commission of Canada, I picked a few points I want to share with you. The first one is, in 3 words, peer support is humanize, depathologize, and socialize. And this is a really important point because peer support and supporting others can strengthen the relationship between people in the community and encourage people to be more socialized, which will help them decrease that feeling of loneliness and feeling that they're struggling by themselves. It will give them the idea that there is people, like there is others that they care for you and they can really help you through your own struggle. Peer support is about providing all the tools beside medication, the tools for the other 80% of your life. So these points for people who take medication, or let's say they go through therapy, but the peer support can provide the other tools like how to be social, help with the coping skills, help with the listening and being there. So the other tools. Number 3 can help a person gain control over their symptoms, reduce hospitalization, offer social support, and improve quality of life. Improve quality of life because the individual is not struggling alone. They feel that there is purpose, there is a community that they're there for me, which means my life matters. Well, my existence matters to others. That's why we care for others, because we want to be part of improving their quality of life, being part of that, them feeling that they matter, their existence is important. The last one, the information and environment and the help that come from someone who has been in their shoes and can help a person better navigate. So when a friend come to you and say like, yeah, like I've been like, also here we later we're going to talk about, make sure when you're supporting others, you're not comparing your experience with their experience. You're more like exchanging and telling them from the approach of empowerment, from the approach of hope, giving them the hope that I've been there and I've managed, I was able to overcome this. That gives them sense that they also can do it. Like if you did it, they can also do it. And I want to share a bit of my experience when I was in Syria back during that, like whenever we had like hot time or like bad time, and there was like bombs or and I used to stay like at home because I cannot go outside because there is bomb outside. However, my friends will keep calling me even if they are like in a bad situation, but my situation is worse. They would be calling me, checking on me, like how you feel, like how, like is it better, how's the bomb, are you able to go out? So that sense, that support made me feel that I'm not alone, like made me feel that like even with everything going on, no, like I'm able to overcome it, like I'm able to, like at least I'm not alone. That sense did support my own trauma back then. So I feel like I agree with the community support, and that's why we wanted to talk and share about how supporting others is important. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? So when to support, that's that question. From my experience, I always get to be asked of like when do we interfere, because that's a really tricky question, especially when your friend or the family member or the person that you love would say like, no, I want my own time and I want my own space. So how can you really balance between both, giving them their own time, giving them their space, also interfere? There is signs and symptoms where you need to notice and observe and try to be there. So when they suddenly no longer have interest in hobbies or other interests that they used to have, or to laugh. They don't want to go to school. They don't want to they don't want to go to work. They don't want to go to the gym. Like their interests are dropping down. They seem to feel angry or sad for little or no reason. And sometimes you would say like, oh yeah, like, and we hear that a lot, especially from this generation. Like, like you're making drama up like out of nothing. No, it's not drama. This indicate that this person is suffering and going through a lot behind that small let's say flip up or flip out. That like this person feeling angry doesn't indicate that there is a struggle behind that. They don't seem to enjoy anything anymore. Like if they go to like nothing that can really interest them. They have told you about or seem to be hearing strange voices or having unsettling thoughts. Also, that could be a sign. Or if they told you that I was sleeping and I saw something moving in my room. So also that could be an important sign to look for. They seem emotionally numb, that like that they don't feel anything anymore. And this is really a hard one because when especially like with people who suffer from depression sometimes, or people who go through trauma and after the trauma they feel numb. Numbness is really a hard feeling, and like it's basically they're not able to feel happy, excited, proud, or even angry or sad. So they like both feelings they're not able to feel. And this is a strong one. Oh, where we are we? Okay. They used to be healthy, but they're not always, but now they're always saying that they feel sick physically. So they either complain about having headache, having stomach problem, a pain in their stomach, like that type of sickness also could indicate that they're going through some mental challenges. They eat a lot more or less than they used to. That family member can tell and friends can tell about that. Their sleep patterns have changed. That usually also a big one. Or if they've told you that they've been having nightmares, also that could be also another sign. They seem to be anxious or terrified about the situation or object in life that say they seem to be normal to others. So for example, getting terrified from small noise, or like hearing the emergency car, or like that type of noises. So you would think that like it's normal for me. Why? You would wonder. So once you wonder, so you can also ask or try to be there to understand the situation better. They've been missing more and more time for work or school. They've been drinking heavily or using drugs to cope. For some youth, or maybe smoking a lot more. Also for like Eastern communities, where I would say like smoking a lot also can be is the same. They've been talking about their life or feeling hopeless, like my life does not matter. I don't really have any hope for the future, that type of conversation. They are avoiding their close friends or family members. And this is really, I've been noticing this a lot, especially among youth. They would rather be alone, and sometimes being alone is not really the healthy way to, so it's sometimes it's very concerning. But remember that your role as a friend is not, it's not the same as a mental health professional. So don't be an expert. Just try to be there as a professional, as a friend, or as like a family member. But don't be a professional. Helping a friend doesn't mean that trying to diagnose them. This is a really important one, or giving a medical or treatment advice, because you're not a professional and it's not really your place. Or try to make decision for your friend or your family member. Oh, you don't know how to figure this out, just leave it to me, I will manage. No, please don't play this role. Or solving all of your friends problem. Oh my god, you're struggling with this, just leave it to me. No, don't do that. Telling them to just stop feeling like they do. Oh, just can you just chill and not be sad? These comments are triggering, so don't use it. Don't tell them that they need to stop the way that they feel, because each feeling need to have to be lived in its own time. and minimizing how they feel, even if they don't understand it. Like, oh, like, yeah, just fine, like, just no, yeah. So try to please not do that. I'll give it back to Aya to share with us how can you help, or how can we help and support.
So here we're just going to talk about how to support someone that's going through anything that is challenging in their life. So for instance, often like your close family and friends would be the ones who notice something that's different about someone. And it's kind of just pointing out these little things that Abrar has listed earlier just now, what it is that they need help with. And then the next step would be is to assist them in making that next step of seeking help, whether it's professional help or going to the doctors or whatever the case is, if they do need to see a mental health practitioner, or helping them get the resources they need through, if it's Youth Kids Help Phone or whatever resources that are accessible for them. And then the next, and while you're doing that, it's important to be able to advocate for them, because sometimes they're not in a place where they can do that for themselves and be their best supporter. So, and the next one would be is helping them take any medications if that is the case, or taking them to appointments and making sure that they're just moving forward with these treatment plans or whatever it is that is needed, and just encourage them to ensure that that is something they're doing. And then the next one would be is supporting a healthy lifestyle. So in this case, it's just doing the little things with them, where you just, again, encourage them and do the things with them together, collaboratively, so that way they do have that motivation and someone that's with them to do it, which is a big one actually, and it's providing emotional support. And this can be something very simple, just listening to them and not being judgmental, but understanding them and being supportive. And you can see that there are just little comments like, I understand, I hear you, what can I help you with? These are just the little things that you can do that can mean a lot for someone, and it doesn't necessarily need to be something that exhausts you as an individual as well. We can go to the next slide actually. And this is where we kind of would start talking about the self-care component. So often, ever since COVID-19 specifically, or even before that actually, you're hearing a lot about self-care, and that can be a little overwhelming. But in reality, self-care is something very simple, and it's just kind of defined as, and I have a quote right here, and it's, self-care is basically anything that you do for yourself that feels nourishing. And this is not something that is difficult for anyone to actually do and incorporate in their daily routine and in their life. So it's not supposed to be something that is difficult, but rather something that you can take initiative in doing, but often we don't know where to start. And so this is where we've come up with a few tips, I guess you can say, of how you can incorporate some self-care regimens in your routine, especially if you are someone that's supporting your peers in times that they're going through difficult events in their life. So I can go to the next slide. So here you can see a list of a few things. So the first thing that personally I would do, and I've done before, is just kind of brainstorm what brings you joy and boosts your energy. That can be anything. Ultimately, it can be brewing a hot cup of tea in the morning, or it could be making sure that every morning you go for a walk. It's not anything that is drastic, and these are just a few things that you can come up with that are easy for you to do. And the next one would be that it's important that the behavior that you incorporate is something small. And the reason for that is because if you try to go big, then it's just going to be really difficult to maintain it. And then after that, it's about incorporating that behavior into your routine on a daily and weekly basis. So when you're doing that, you just constantly are doing the same thing over and over again as part of your routine. And while you're doing that, you start to get used to it. And then once you've kind of finished the whole week of doing that, then you can reflect on how that new behavior made you feel. And if you feel like did something for you, then you can move on again and starting again and kind of brainstorming new ideas that you can additionally include into your routine, as well as the initial one that you began with. So it's like essentially you're just constantly adding more and new good aspects to your routine that make you feel happy, essentially. So we can go to the next slide, which is just a few ideas that oh, sorry, I'm going to give it actually to Abrar for this part.
Thank you, Aya. So 5 dimensions of self-care. It's very important when you do self-care, try to balance between all the dimension of yourself as a person. So make sure that you're supporting your mental well-being, which mean acquiring knowledge of things that interest you, your physical well-being, anything related to nutrition and your health, your body. It's also important to take care of that. Your spiritual aspect of self, like your spiritual aspect of life, following the practices and belief that bring you purpose. If you usually have prayers that you like to do, or any type of, also sometimes meditation could absolutely support your spiritual aspect of life. The social aspect as well, maintaining social connection to feel sense of belonging, especially with the people that you love and the people that you care about and they care about you. The emotional aspect as well, which is understanding yourself, your emotion, and how to cope with the challenges, and how to cope with your own and express your own feelings and emotion. So whenever you're trying to plan for self-care, make sure that there is no gap, because some people would, for example, plan self-care but decide to stay home for the month, okay, and with no social connection. And after that month, they would be like, I've done everything, but I don't really feel that I'm myself, or I don't really feel good, because that gap that you created for one of the dimension of yourself, it didn't really help. So yeah, and I'll give it back to Aya to give us some more ideas.
So with the self-care ideas that we found, a lot of them do actually go with the 5 dimensions that Abrar was talking about. So it could be something very simple, such as journaling, where you just use either gratitude or bullet journaling, or just even if not those, because it can feel kind of restrictive sometimes. It could be reflections about your day or anything that you want. It could be sleeping more. It could be incorporating more yoga, or actually starting yoga, or exercising, such as going to the gym, running, even maybe joining a sport team, whatever it is that you like. It could be joining any religious services. It could be volunteering at an organization that you are passionate about. It could be nature walks. It could be joining a book club, or even starting one. I've seen a lot of on Instagram, for instance, where you can join a book club with people from across the world, and that could be a new way of socializing, meeting new people. It could be learning a new language. I honestly did that at some point. And it could be a social media detox, because again, a lot of things are on social media, and with COVID-19, we're all at home. But sometimes you do need that break. It could also be listening to music. Me personally, I love listening to music. So it does help if you do follow these, but it's not an endless list that you can keep going on and on about what you like to do. It's just a matter of figuring that out for yourself and then going from there. And then we can go on to the next slide. So here, I was just thinking that it would be a good idea for, if you're listening to this after it's recorded, to kind of make up a list of things that bring you joy. And that would be the first step of how to start a self-care routine. It's really important to do that. So I feel like it would be good to just take a few moments to yourself and kind of come up with what you like and what you enjoy. And if we want, we can do that right now too. There is a Jamboard link that we could insert our own ideas, just to give people some ideas of what they like. And yeah, that's kind of all I was thinking about this one right here. Do we want to do the Jamboard now?
I think we could try the link for the Jamboard, and maybe throughout the presentation, each of us could drop things in there so that we can share our ideas, and that can encourage the other young people that might be watching this at a later time.
Okay.
Thanks, Aya.
No problem. I will add some points here. So that was the only thing for this slide. We can go to the next one then, if that is the case. And it was just a Q&A section. We can go to the next slide as well, actually. And I'll give it off to Abrar.
Thank you so much, Aya. That was wonderful. Okay, so we will conclude with some, well, we did include the references for our presentation. I think we missed one, but yeah, that's majority of them, and resources. So there's a few resources that really help with self-care and caring for others, or if you want to do what we call self-help support for your mental well-being overall. So there is Bounce Back Ontario. It's really a great one. If you want to click on it, we can basically they have assessment, they have some books to read, recording videos that really can help. Kids have fun. They really have basically absolutely they're 24/7 counseling and texting for free if you want to talk to someone who could understand. And they also recently they have the peer support groups, which also can it's kind of, well, they have, like, for example, the black peer support group. I think the LGBTQ one, I think they're trying to do that. I'm not sure if that's already up or not yet. Also, they have they have English and French and Arabic services, so they're really good. They really good what we call reference or resources. Also, they have like so many books and tools to kind of adapt if you want to work by yourself on yourself. Also, we added a few Instagram pages that they have always some tips and wellness tips, and they talk a lot about how to do self-care. They really have great activities. You can follow mentalhealth.q, advocating mental health, advocating.mental health. Also, let's talk mental health, also great resources. They really also they explain a lot. They sometimes share information about anxiety and how to cope with anxiety, depression, how to cope with depression, COVID, going back to school. They also share about some resources about going back to school, social anxiety, and they have some good resources about that too. So basically there's few really outside. Also make sure that you follow our page, which is abrarmh.ca on Instagram, and our website as well. We also have good resources. Also, OurSpace, they also share great recording and lectures and sessions and workshops that are uploaded on their YouTube channel. So make sure that you follow that. If you have any questions, feel free to email us or get in touch with us through our website. Thank you so much for listening, and hope you are really taking care of yourself and your loved ones.
Thank you so much, Aya and Abrar. On behalf of the OurSpace Hamilton team, I'd just like to thank you both for doing the session today. It is such a topic that is needed right now as we face going back to school and things reopening and lots of different changes happening. And I know that can impact our day-to-days a lot, and taking care of others is going to be so important, but also taking care of yourself. And so thank you for sharing the tips and strategies and doing so with our peers. We also recently did a series around peer support with the Center of Excellence. So we have those videos on our website as well. If you want to learn a little more about peer support and just breakdown of the different components of it, that might be something that might be interesting for young people watching this. Thank you again, Abrar and Aya, and I will share all the resources and references on the OurSpace page for the session. And we look forward to seeing all of you soon. We hope you find this helpful. Thank you.